Hello, welcome to the Waste of Web Space podcast, episode 81.
Starring
Jimbo.
Fisher.
And how's it going, Fisher? All good with you?
Yeah, very good, thanks, Jimbo. How about you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Moustache coming on well. I'm sure we'll talk about that in our breaking news very shortly, but should we get on with the episode intro first and tell everybody what it's called?
God, I don't even know what we're subtitled, actually, by the way.
You don't even know?
So, I don't even know. And just the fact that we joined in this conversation and this recording by asking each other how we are. We were talking to each other for about 20 minutes before we hit record. We didn't actually discuss like if we were all right or all that sort of stuff, did we?
No.
I don't think you even told me the intro was called, yeah.
Behind the scenes, we don't really get on. It's just all a show. We're professionals. It's all about the podcasting, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Anyway,
our names aren't even Jimbo and Fisher.
Exactly. So today our episode title is Woolly, or brackets Pretty Bully. Of course, down to the recent Priti Patel inquiry that went off and then found out that she was in fact bullying within her role. So shall we play the intro?
Yeah.
Have you heard the song Woolly Bully before?
I'm not sure I have, but
I think
unless you play it right now, I'm going to come round there and hit you.
Right, here we go then.
Playing this song about bullying.
The inquiry told Boris that she broke the code. Pretty was a bully, but Boris said no. Pretty bully. Pretty bully. Pretty bully. Pretty bully. Pretty bully. So Sir Alex, he's standing down as Boris Johnson told him to tone his report down. Pretty bully. Pretty bully. Pretty bully. Pretty bully. Pretty bully. So there you go. Pretty bully is our song title today, or episode title, and the song title there. Because of we'll speak a bit about it later on, won't we? But Fisher, time for your breaking news. What you got for us? What you been up to?
Not really got much, to be fair. I've contributed towards making a cake this week. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, tell us more about this cake.
There's a picture of I'm not sure why you can see it on that view. Actually, it's for someone who is quite keen on canals. It was retiring, works with my wife, and because he is a keen canal lover, we made him a cake that got two halves of a cake, and in the middle of it we got a little river, and we got some locks to make it. Obviously, it got off to quite a disastrous start when I got the text message from my wife saying we need to make a canal cake, and Predictive Text got hold of it, unfortunately. But nonetheless, I designed something where it got loads of fluid coming out of the lock, and absolutely perfect. So, quite good, quite enjoyed it.
So how percentage then? Percentage of how
well.
much you did compared to what your wife did?
I did a solid, it's a team effort, isn't it, on all this sort of stuff. A bit like the Waste of Web Space podcast. We don't divide up our work. It's the sum of its parts that really counts.
But come on, what percentage?
Well, he does more of the baking. I tend to do a bit more of the design work and a bit more of some of the precision, some of the detail, some of the thinking outside the box.
You make the cup of teas while she's baking.
I did the washing up afterwards. I did some of the taste testing.
Yeah.
That's just a critical part of it. She's also made me some cookies, which I'm going to eat on the podcast.
There we go.
And they're very nice as well.
Well, hello to everybody who is listening to us or watching us live. Well, you'll be watching us live. And obviously anyone who's not listening, who's not watching live, but is listening in the podcast that's put out afterwards. Sorry if you are hearing any audio problems. We've been pretty much preparing for this, speaking to each other for about half an hour before we actually hit go. And as soon as we do, hit go, suddenly the audio breaks up a little bit. But we'll continue going because I can still hear what Fish is saying, and I'm pretty sure he can still hear what I'm saying.
Yes, it's me. I'm not quite sure what the problem is. It might be my internet connection, therefore, that's got the problem.
Possibly, you are breaking up a little bit. But anyway, who knows whose problem that is. So, shall we move forward? Is it... well, breaking news. I mean, tell us about your moustache as well. How's that coming along? I mean, we can see, but for the listeners, what do we think?
I think it's okay. I think, given the shirt I'm wearing as well, if I'm to change and put on my baseball cap, I would very much say I'm in full-on trucker mode here.
Yeah.
And I'm just missing having a job driving through Central America in a large articulate. I think it looks okay though. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm liking it. Looks very good. I see where the trucker thing's coming from. Shall I do my breaking news?
Yeah.
See, I tend to forget my breaking news, but this time I have got breaking news. I went to the park yesterday with my daughter, just a common thing to do at the minute because there's not much else to do. So I went to the park and I took a football. Just I thought, can have a little kick around. She likes playing football. She's only 3, but she likes
Jimbo.
playing football. Yeah.
You didn't lose to her, did you again?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Well, I did. I was the big loser because I was. I kind of like, I kind of had a little mini bit of. I went into a mini sprint. Yeah. Before that, I was just sort of walking about, kicking the ball, and I went into a mini sprint. What I would describe as a mini sprint. The only one that I did yesterday while at the park. And on my mini sprint, guess what I did?
You fell over.
I fell over. Yeah, all in the mud, sludged down all one side. Lots of parents about wondering what I was doing. You kind of do that thing, don't you, where you laugh at yourself when you fall over to make it so it's not as bad, and you do an over-the-top laugh. I kind of did that.
Did Ada laugh at you?
She just finds it confusing every time I do it. I told you about the time that I was pushing her on the swings, and I decided to see if I could run underneath, and I made a bit of a mess of that as well. So that's just added to. I think basically she knows me that as soon as I pick up any pace or get a bit too overexcited, I'm likely to fall over. So there you go. That's my breaking news anyway.
Okay. Should we do a bit of breaking news for the podcast?
Go on then, Fisher. What would you say? Breaking news for the podcast?
Breaking news for the podcast. I was just going to say we've got a few new reviews that we're aware of.
We have got a couple of new reviews, haven't we? Have you got them to hand?
I have, yes. Just recent reviews, all 5 stars. So thank you very much to everyone for 5-star reviewing us. And these are genuine. It's got to a stage where we can't even make up our own reviews anymore because we've not got enough devices to do
it. Well, they've been there a couple of weeks, haven't they? We didn't even know they were there.
Yeah. One person says, brilliant. Really in the episode, some great quizzes, and even if they are a little daddish.
So you broke up a little bit there, but I do remember reading this review. It said, "Love the jokes." Was it even if they're a little daddish? Somebody said.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's.
And another review. Great podcast and very funny, or V funny. I'm hoping V stands for very. And it says our favourite podcast at the moment. Long gaps, quite right. We've got a lot to say. But good to keep picking up throughout the week and listen to while you're working from home. I've been late on a few video calls because of this podcast. It keeps us smiling, especially the silly mock adverts. So
there we go.
You kind of created that, a lot of those, Jimbo. So well done.
No worries, yeah. And we're helping people working from home, aren't we? In many cases, and because sometimes people tell me that they listen when they're on the car journey. So I mean, obviously it's going a long car journey if they listen to a full podcast because they tend to go into an hour and a half. But some people have said that they listen while on different journeys, so they'll listen to it over the course of a week or something, which is pretty good.
Yeah. So just to let you know that there's a car just coming down on your left-hand side. It looks like it might be about to undertake you, so make sure you're checking in your mirrors. But also, if you are listening to this whilst working from home, then to be honest, just delete the email that person sent you. It's probably not that important anyway. And
disclaimer, it's not our fault if people turn up late to video calls because they're over listening to us and forgetting to log on to their video meetings or whatever. So, should we do beers?
Yeah, let's do beers. What have you got, Jimbo?
Well, have you ever been to Maison de Beer. I think that's how you say it. Maison de Beer in Elsica.
I'm fairly sure it's actually called Maison du Bière within French, but yeah.
Well, you are
To us, it's pretty much called
European,
Maison.
Fisher. You've got the French moustache and everything, so...
Yeah, we just call it Maison de Beer, can't we? That's how the Yorkshire people. Barnsley is not particularly well known for its French culture, as far as I'm aware.
So yeah, and it's called Interstellar Getaway. Can you see that okay there? Because and I thought I'd get this one and pick this one up only because I read the actual what's in it, and it sounds nice. It sounds like my kind of beer, but also because the SpaceX sent some more astronauts up to space, haven't they? And
have they?
Yeah, and I didn't know if you noticed, but they were using Baby Yoda as their zero gravity indicator. So when they go on space missions to test out the gravity before they go into the cockpit or wherever they go, when they've got to a certain point, they have to send something out to check that it can float freely around and so on, so that they know that the zero gravity stuff's working and so on. So they used a Baby Yoda. And I mean, Yoda. You've seen Babe? Do you know who Baby Yoda is?
No, I don't watch Star Wars. I'm not into it at all.
It's part of a spin-off of Star Wars. I'll fill you in, Fisher, with it. It's part of a spin-off of Star Wars, and it goes back in time, so the Yoda's actually really small and babyish in it. So that's where Baby Yoda character comes from, but it's become a lot of memes and things like that. But I actually spoke to Yoda the other day, Fisher. The real Yoda.
You did, Jimbo?
I did speak to the real Yoda the other day, because obviously he's got these new TV series on Netflix and stuff like that, so I said, Yoda, have you seen yourself on these new 4K tellies? It's absolutely incredible. And you know what he said?
Jimbo, no, see me on TV, Jimbo.
He said...
Is that what he said?
No, he said, HDMI.
Hey.
Do you like that?
Very good.
Terrible. So Interstellar Getaway is at 4% Galaxy Pale Ale. It's from Manchester, but thank you to the Maison de Bière, or whatever you want to say, in Elsica, who were very nice, and they even gave my daughter a free bag of crisps.
Very good.
As a
were they in date?
I'm pretty sure they were. They took them straight off the shelf. So big shout out to them. Really appreciate that. And I want people to be able to see the nice colours of it and everything like that. And you can see it's a nice sort of paley, hazy type colour.
What are you drinking there?
I think it might be a gin. I think it might be a gin glass.
Yeah, looks like a vase. Have you got any flowers to put in there instead?
It fits nicely. So there we go. Cheers, Fisher. What you got?
Cheers. I think, by the way, the brewery that makes that, is that run by Paul McCartney's son-in-law?
Which one? Sorry.
The beer that makes the brew that makes your beer.
ABC.
He's quite interstellar, isn't he?
I
thought it was called Interstellar.
Very funny. It's actually about. It's
not the best joke in the world, anyway.
I don't think I gave the name of it though. It looks like the ABC, possibly brewery. It just says ABC.
Right.
Alphabet Brewing Co. There you go. In Northwestern
okay.
Street, Manchester. There we go.
Very good. I've got some Camden Hell's Lager. Not the most exotic, to be fair, but nonetheless, it was in my garage, so I've got to try and drink more. I think we've probably had this before, whether on the podcast or elsewhere. Relatively common brewery nowadays, isn't it, Camden?
Yeah. Okay.
It should be okay, I think. Looking forward to it.
So,
Jimbo, I'm drinking it out of the bottle today. What a rebel.
Fisher's extremely on the slow side today, from what I can see. So sorry if other people are experiencing Fisher's broken up audio or video, but we'll keep going. We'll do his best. Fisher, it's your show and tell. What have you got?
It's this shirt.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm not sure if you can see it, or how well you can see it. Listening to the audio version of the podcast, then you probably can't see it at all, because that's how audio works. But if you're watching on the video on YouTube or Facebook, then you'll be able to see this shirt that I'm wearing. But I can describe it to you. I don't know if you want to jump in as well, Jimbo, but it's basically a blue and black check shirt with a white stripe running through it. Very much the height of fashion, probably back 20 years ago.
It's what you might lay out to have a picnic on.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
It's the kind of pattern to it.
So what is the slight story I've got behind it? Is it that whilst wearing wearing this shirt, I was asked to appear in a photo shoot for a photography student. I initially agreed, but withdrew after she said she was looking forward to working with someone who wasn't that attractive. Or is it whilst wearing this shirt, I was working behind the bar when a customer complimented me on the shirt and then asked if I was gay?
So what kind of era is this from then? What kind of time is this from, are we saying?
Well, we're talking in sort of 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay.
So it's not particularly recent. But I have had this shirt for a long time, I'll be honest. I've had it for about 10 years.
And is that both of your stories that this is the case? Is that right?
I would say that the first story happened in 2012. The second story happened in 2013.
So 2012, 2013. And let's just clarify the first story. Someone you was going to... Where was you working, or where was you going to be working?
This is a few years ago when I was living in the first story. And
in Manchester, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bank holiday.
Yeah.
I was just having a bit of a wander around the city centre wearing this shirt. And I'd like to think I looked quite cool, Jimbo. It's hard to say. I was sort of like walking around town. Maybe had a bit of a skateboard look to it, maybe, you think, from the shirt, perhaps. And someone approached me saying they're a photography student from Manchester University. And they were trying to get some photos together for a project they were doing. Could I be in some of the photos they were planning on taking? And we discussed potential locations down at the bottom of Deansgate or whatever, where there's some railway arches look quite good. And we swapped numbers to arrange for me to go back a few weeks later. I thought, something different. Never particularly done it. I just put in a text message. Quite looking forward to working with you. A lot of people I normally work with are quite different and really good looking, and you had something a little bit different to that, which I thought was a little bit offensive. But therefore, decided that actually maybe I wasn't that keen on doing the bit of work for her.
So you could have been a clothes model or a model or something.
I think it was more just for some work. I think it was more. I think the impression I got was she was more bothered about the actual surroundings. She was wanting some people. A lot of the areas that we were discussing were a bit more of like an industrial type theme, but so she wants some people in it. And I think it was quite clear that she didn't particularly want me to be the star of the show, in spite of the fact that I was possibly going to be the only person on it.
Right. Okay. And then the second one, then. Yep. Tell me that one again.
The second one, I was working behind a bar. While serving a customer, said they liked my shirt, and then asked if I was gay.
Right, I can't remember you working behind a bar.
I was working behind a bar in the commercial.
Oh yes, I do remember you've done a few shifts in the commercial. Yeah. Can you tell me who it was who said this? Do you know who it was, or do you know? You don't have to give the name, but did you know the person who said that to you?
I do not know the person. They were not anyone who is a regular or anyone I know who goes in the pub.
Was it a male or female?
It was a male.
Okay.
So he may or may not have been chatting me up.
That's what I was trying to ask. Yeah.
Than the person I met in Manchester. It was more complimenting the person I met in Manchester who claimed that I was quite unattractive. I don't know if he was chatting me up. He just asked about my shirt and asked if I was gay. Also, he liked my shirt and then said asked if I was gay, rather. Again, of which there is absolutely no problem with whatsoever.
Yeah.
For the avoidance of doubt, and irrespective of what shirt I'm wearing.
I think the second one's certainly a compliment, because they do say that people who are gay have good style. That's what they say about gay men, that they've got good style.
Yeah. Says the man currently wearing the grumpy old. What's your t-shirt? Grumpy old man.
Grumpy old man.
Grumpy old man club.
Yep.
Founding member, it says.
Oh yeah. Got this from my dad. Anyway.
Yeah. That sounds an hereditary condition that you've got.
Yeah. My daughter thinks that Wallace off Wallace and Gromit's my dad.
Having seen your dad, that doesn't surprise me.
All right, so I need to try and decide then.
Well, I don't know. Have you got any more questions on the matter, or have I explained everything?
I've just got doubts about the first one, that somebody actually wanted you to appear in their work in the first place.
Well, they did give a very plausible reason. That
so this would have been 2012 then, and that was just kind of when you were just before you came back to Sheffield, wasn't it? Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
But it was in Manchester, so it's just before you came back.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what did it.
Maybe that tipped me over the edge. Maybe transformed my entire life and fashion sense to start wearing clothes that make it look like I was gay instead.
Okay. Right.
And to be fair, to this person, I'm not necessarily saying that he said it was a shirt that made him suspect that I might have been. But he did compliment the shirt and then say, "Oh, you go."
Right. I am going to say that it was the second one, and it was while you was working in the commercial and somebody asked if you were gay, I think.
Jimbo, you would be correct. Well done.
Have you wore the shirt often since?
No, I mean, I found the incident all a bit embarrassing. I'll be honest. I nearly dropped my Smirnoff Ice that I was drinking when he said that to me.
What are you trying to say?
No, I was. I do wear the shirt every now and then. It's an alright shirt, as I say, but it does have that memory sort of tag to it, which I find a little unusual. I was just doing my normal job that I was doing at the time, which was working behind the bar, sort of a few evenings, weekends for a relatively short period. Served this bloke, I think, a couple of pints or whatever it was, and then he said that to me, which I thought was a bit unusual. I do quite like the fact that you think that the idea that someone would refuse me for a photo if I'm unattractive is obviously not going to happen in the first place. But I don't know whether or not you find the first part of that statement unplausible or the second one.
Right, well, anyway, it's a shame your audio has been a bit jumpy so far, but we'll keep moving forward. And again, apologies for anyone who's experiencing that like I am a little bit, but we can still make out what you're saying for sure. We're still doing all right. Really enjoying the Interstellar Getaway beer from the Alphabet Crow Brewery, I think it is, Manchester. Really enjoying it, really nice. There you go again, for anyone who wants to see what that looks like. I do like the can designs that people are coming up with these days. Really into that. So, yeah. Anyway, it's time for my feature, Fisher. And, anyway, so... Should we talk briefly about why I came up with this feature, first of all?
That is entirely up to you, Jimbo.
So, my mum, who I shall not name, and she doesn't have my name anyway, so or anything, we don't have the same surname or anything, so that's quite handy.
To be fair, Jimbo, if your mum was called Jimbo, I'll be quite surprised.
So, earlier this week, I got a message from my mum on the old WhatsApp, and I thought, the headline of it was, cops put to shame, blah 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 blah, over attending lockdown party or something like that. Okay, now I thought, this is going to be a great story for our podcast, until I opened the message and looked into it further and saw that the headline, which was in a horrible rag of a newspaper, I won't say which one it was, but you can probably guess from a couple of different ones, but it was one with a red, what they call a red top, what do they call them normally? Red
top and a third page.
But anyway, she was she was featured in this article playing crazy golf in somebody's house, and it's worth to say her first and her first shot wasn't too bad, but her second and third shots were pretty terrible, weren't they?
Oh yeah. Yeah, a second shot in particular hit the fireplace almost. It was nowhere near where. She was trying to put it into an upside down pint glass or cup, wasn't it? It was at a house that she'd attended. Yeah,
so she'd attended a house to check because the reports that there'd been some sort of lockdown party, and while they were there, kind of just very sort of light-heartedly, we're having a bit of a chat, kind of mixing with the community, like, it's good police practice to kind of, be like that, to check everything out and so on. And I think obviously they were kind of stitched up a little bit, and the video was sent to a sort of national paper and so on, but nothing actually became of it. I think most people see the sense that there wasn't really anything to have any alarm or concern about, but it did make me laugh a little bit. And I thought I was going to then try and do a quiz about famous people in particular who've got parents who are quite embarrassing or whatever. And we talked previously about Stanley Johnson, haven't we? How he's kind of causes a bit. He's done various stupid things, hasn't he? And that probably haven't been favourable towards Boris Johnson. Although Boris Johnson's quite good at making himself look like an idiot anyway. So I did some research. I struggled a little bit, but I'm going to hopefully do that again. But what I have got is a bit of a quiz for you, Fisher, about celebrities who have got family secrets. So a little bit more deeper than that, and a bit more about family secrets of some celebrities that you may or may not have heard of before. So are you ready for your quiz? And like we've done before, ready. How it's going to work is I'm going to give you like a 2-word phrase, and then that will help you to guess the name of the celebrity before I give you their question. Is that all right? So there's only 7 questions. That's why I thought I'd kind of make it a bit trickier. All right. So here we go then. Your first one then. Celebrities who have got sort of family secrets or awkward parents and things like that. So first of all then, your first clue is, 2-word clue is Parent Trap.
Oh, Parent Trap. That was a film, wasn't it? Early 2000. Well, it was a remake. I think the original film was from the probably 70s, 78. But it was remade later on with Lindsay Lohan, I believe.
Correct. Yep, Lindsay Lohan is spot on. Well done. And your question then about Lindsay Lohan is, what did Lindsay Lohan's dad, who was famously been in trouble with the law quite a few times and spent time behind bars for crimes involving money and for assault, but for what reason was he arrested in 1997? Your 2 possible answers are: A, he broke his probation flying to California to visit his daughter Lindsay, who'd been hospitalised after suffering an asthma attack while filming a movie, and then was, because of that, he was then jailed for a year. Or B, while under the influence of drugs and alcohol, he tried to steal a car off a drive, but instead of putting the car in reverse, he shot forward through the garage door and found himself stuck in the car, where he fell asleep until police got to him.
Well, both fairly plausible. I don't know. Did you see footage of a car being driven home by someone? They were trying to drive onto the drive, which was a bit of a sloping drive that kind of went up and they put it into the wrong thing and shot off it. Went over the ledge and ended up in a bit of a mess.
It's amazing how easy it seems to be able to do that. It looked like a Porsche as well, didn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if there's a difference between sort of drive and park on some of these things. He tapped his foot down. He or she, obviously, tapped his foot down, and it seemed to shoot forward quite a bit. I think that if you break your probation, and it's to do something there's a legitimate reason why you'd be trying to do something under fairly exceptional circumstances, such as visiting his young daughter who'd had an asthma attack in hospital, it might be kind of okay to get away with that. I think if you were to steal a car and shoot forward through someone's garage, I think there is very little exceptional circumstances there, so I'm going to say the second one.
So you think he was sat on the drive in his car, well, not in his car, he was trying to steal a car, and he shot forward instead of backwards, and then, you would be...
Yep.
Wrong. Yeah, so, I mean, as much as he's been in trouble in the past for various things, I suppose this is a little bit more unfortunate in the sense that he was actually going to visit his daughter who wasn't well. But, if you are on probation, you kind of make sure you clear that first, don't you, before you do things like this. And, he ended up in prison again for that. So, next one then. Number 2, your 2-word phrase is actor, governor.
Well, he's, as well as an actor and a governor, he's also a very bad television presenter to the extent that he should have been fired. And I think it is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm not sure about that. So what was this TV presenting thing?
He took over The Apprentice, didn't he, from Donald Trump?
Oh, did he? Is that who's the TV presenter now of that?
Yeah, and obviously Trump being Trump, said Schwarzenegger's ratings were down. He was nowhere near as good as Trump was, so he should be fired. And the program is rubbish, because Donald Trump's on it. Only in the same way that he decided to slag off what's the name? Mamma Mia.
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. Yeah, she slagged off Meryl Streep, so she's not even that good an actress anyway, just because she had the cheek to criticise him.
All right.
All that sort of stuff.
Is Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he was a governor, was he, and when he was into politics and stuff, was he Democrat or Republican?
I think he was Republican. I think he was governor of California, and I want to say he was Republican. But I will. While you're reading the next question out, I will check if you like.
So, what is true about Arnold Schwarzenegger's dad, who was a military police officer in the 1930s and 1940s in Austria? A. There are records that show he was potentially seeking membership to right-wing political parties and movements in Austria in late 1930s. Or B. He mysteriously went missing in 1938 and never returned and was rumoured to have been killed.
It was a Republican governor of California, by the way. I've just checked. So I've got something at the back of my mind which links the host, the host of the US president to sort of right-wing fascist groups. But again, I don't know whether that's Trump or Schwarzenegger, so I'm not sure the first one is right. And so the second one was that he disappeared.
Yeah.
Did you say? I think that's a bit. I'm not sure. Disappearing. I think if I would have heard, I've vaguely got something in the back of my mind about him being linked to right-wing groups or its families. So I'm going to say the first one's true.
Correct. Well done. Yep. So there are records that seem to show he was trying to join certain socialist parties at the time in Austria, just before Austria became part of Germany and all those kind of things, and it was basically for some of the same parties that the Nazi Party sort of evolved from and all those kind of things. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, whether that was actually proved or not, yeah.
Sorry, can I just ask from a historical context, at what point did Austria become part of Germany?
Well, it got annexed. Is it called annexed or something like that? Something to do, you know what I mean? It got taken over or whatever. I don't know. Go on, you correct us, Fisher. Mr. History. Well,
do you mean when Hitler invaded Austria, or was it Austria? Or was it Austria-Hungary at that point? I'm not too sure.
Not sure. Yeah.
I don't think at any point.
Yeah.
Austria became part of Germany.
Under their rule, though, I suppose, is what I was maybe saying. Yeah. Okay. Next, number 3, Umbrella Singer.
Oh, of course, this must be Rihanna, I think. Rihanna or Jay-Z. I'm assuming Rihanna.
I suppose you could have said Julie Andrews or Mary Poppins.
Could have done, yeah. Or who did Singing in the Rain?
Yeah, Gene something. I'm going to say Gene. I think I was going to say the right one. I'm going to say Gene Simmons.
I think about to say Gene Simmons. Yeah, Gene Kelly.
That's the one, yeah.
Imagine Gene Simmons doing Singing in the Rain. His face paint might come off though. That might be a slight problem.
Go on then. It's me, isn't it? So yeah,
no, it's you.
So you've got this one right then. So next then, Rihanna took. Hold on a minute. Wrong. Sorry. What is true about Rihanna's dad? A. He apparently tried to convince Rihanna to change her stage name to Badonna. Which is a play on her Barbados roots and Madonna. Or B, Rihanna took her dad to court over using the family name Fenty, which she trademarked. Her dad was allegedly using it and pretending to be her manager as well.
Oh, I'm not too sure. It's not that uncommon, is it, for pop stars to fall out with the parents? And have issues with image rights and all that sort of stuff and management and what. I didn't think is Britney. Well, it might be a question coming up, but I think Britney Spears in particular is quite heavily involved in legal dispute with her parents.
Yeah, I think that's that's ongoing at the minute, isn't it? As well, I think as recently as as things are currently going. So yeah, is that one you're going to go with then?
Well, Britney Spears wasn't one of the questions.
No, I was saying, is that
rather one of the answers?
Yeah, you're going to go with the answer about the similar sort of thing, or?
Image rights. Did you say Fenty?
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that sound like it could be Rihanna's surname? I don't know that her first name is Rihanna, in all honesty. No, I'm going to say Badonna.
You think her dad wanted her to use the name Badonna? Okay. Well, you are wrong. No. I think it was in 2019, actually. She took her dad to court over, using the family name Fenty, which is used for, it's like the sort of like the entertainment brand, and I think they do other things like clothing and so on, but he kind of tried to use the name for various things, and also apparently he was pretending or acting like he was her manager and so on. Next then, number 4, your two...
Hang on. If it's for the entertainment brand, have they ever referred to it as Fentertainment?
I'm sure they might have.
Your
next one then, number 4, and your 2-word phrase for this one is not whoopee.
Not whoopee. Is it Peter? I was going to say Whoopi Goldberg. Well, listen, it must be some kind of reference to Whoopi Goldberg. So I wonder if it might be Peter Cushing.
No.
All right. Okay. It's not Whoopi Cushing. Peter. Yeah. Not Whoopi.
You might remember from
is there anyone else called Goldberg?
We mentioned this in a few podcasts back. We had a question or something that came up.
Is it someone who was confused for being Whoopi Goldberg?
Yes.
So if I get this wrong, then it's going to reflect really badly on me, isn't it? It's clearly what you've set me up to do. I wonder whether it was Oprah Winfrey.
Well done. You are correct. Yeah. So yeah, we remember there was an I think it was like a fashion or like an online magazine sort of thing that commented on a picture of I think I can't remember which way around it was, but commented on a picture of either Whoopi Goldberg. I think it was Whoopi Goldberg saying, "Oh, Oprah looks well," sort of thing. Anyway, what did Oprah discover in 2010? A, that her father was not her father, or B, that she had a sister she didn't know about. Sounds like something that could have appeared on the Oprah Winfrey show.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that actually, just getting back to the mix-up originally, that Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg do actually sometimes claim it's one of Whoopi Goldberg's well-known sister acts.
I think that kind of came through for you, but no, that was meant to give you a symbol, but your audio kind of cut slightly. So, do you want to attempt to repeat it?
Yeah, go on then. Can you just pretend you didn't hear it first time round?
Yeah, I'll pretend. Yeah,
so
go on.
You can get ready to laugh with us. So yeah, of course, Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg do often sort of pretend to be siblings. It's Whoopi Goldberg's well-known sister act.
Very good. There we go. Yeah, very good. That came through a lot better this time for sure. Well done. So yeah, which one was it then? Is it that A, her father was not her father, or B, that she had a sister she didn't know about?
Well, I do apologise if the second one is true and you'd already lined up some kind of sister act-based joke. I think it. Yeah, go on. I'll say she's got a sister she never knew about.
Yep, well done. She's got a sister called Patricia. Oprah grew up in extreme poverty in Mississippi and was sent to live with her biological father as a child because the cost became too much for her mum at the time. But then her mum later on had 2 more children. One of them was given up for adoption, and Oprah only found out about her in 2010. Interesting fact for you there. The next one then, number 5. Your next two-word phrase is shining actor.
Oh, you know, I can't do films. Oh, I was in The Shining. Is it Jack Nicholson?
Well done.
There we go.
So what is true about Jack Nicholson? A, he has a brother who robbed a convenience store dressed as the Joker, the character that Jack Nicholson played in Batman. Or B, he found out his sister was actually his mother when he was 37.
Don't know. I'm assuming his sister therefore must be quite a few years older than he is. I don't know if America's maybe got the same. Because how old is Jack Nicholson now?
He's
probably
83.
in his 70s.
83.
In his 80s. 83. Okay. I thought it probably was in his 80s, but I want to be nice and say in his 70s. So we're talking 45 years ago, ish, give or take a little bit. Would it have been a bit more sort of socially unusual at that time to, if childs aren't born in wedlock and all that sort of stuff? Maybe that might be something that's a bit more of a British thing than it is an American thing. But I'm gonna say that the person who thought was his sister is actually his mother.
Well done. You are correct, and it is exactly that. Basically, he was born out of wedlock, so in those days it was quite common to hide it, and I don't think he was kind of probably the only person at the time who found out those kind of things, really. Number 6, then, this is probably going to be one. I think this is probably the hardest one, really. The next two are probably quite difficult. So next, then, your two-word phrase is Maul voice.
Maul voice. Oh, so this is the person who provides the voice of Darth Maul in Star Wars.
Darth Maul in Star Wars,
already something, which is already something that I've made a reference to the fact that I know very little about Star Wars. So the question is, who provides the voice of Darth Maul in Star Wars? And I think I might know this is. Is his second name quite difficult to pronounce?
It is, yeah.
Is it Peter Serafinowicz?
Well done. Well done. You are correct with that. Sorry, the audio was breaking up there again. It's been particularly bad for the last couple of questions, but we'll keep going. So which of these is true about Peter Serafinowicz? I think I've said that right, or ish. But people know what I'm on about. Yeah. So he also, just for those who might not know him, he's quite a large, tall comedian, isn't he? But he's quite broad as well, isn't he, at the same time? And he was in I think he appeared in some of the what's the films called? The Shaun of the Dead type films. They call them the what do you call them?
It was in.
They call them the
Cornetto trilogy.
That's it, Cornetto trilogy. That came up in a Zoom quiz recently, actually. Cornetto trilogies. He's in there, man. He's in various other things. He had his own sketch show as well at one point, which was quite good, actually. I thought he was quite underrated as a sketch show producer. But anyway, which of these is true about him? A, his granddad was tried for war crimes, or B, his sister was tried for treason.
Oh, good question. Yeah, I don't know a huge amount about him. I think he did a program called Look Around You on BBC Two that was probably on about 20 years ago. Little 10-minute sketches. His sister. What would his sister do? I mean, do people get charged with treason now? I think it's quite unlikely. Again, that said, his grandfather being tried for war crimes probably isn't particularly commonplace either, but I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go grandfather tried for war crimes.
Well done. Correct. So his granddad was apparently tried for war crimes participating in the Holocaust in Belarus. He was never held accountable, as it was said that he'd got dementia at the time of the starting trial, so he weren't fit to stand trial. But he was apparently the first man in the UK to be tried for war crimes.
Really?
Yeah, and I think Peter Serafinowicz at the time had tried to kind of put a bit of a newspaper block on this, which, in all fairness to Peter Serafinowicz, you can't kind of help who your family is and what your sort of family history is it? And I think his family was Belarusian before. That's where his kind of ties are and so on. So it's not, it can't really be helped. But anyway, I think he dropped trying to block anything in the end. I think he decided not to block any of the new stuff. But anyway, number 7 then.
Yeah, I think it does appear in the newspapers now. Sometimes it's just one of those stories about your mother playing crazy golf in people's living rooms. So you can still see it in there.
That's it. Next then, number 7. This is going to be difficult. So, Spider-Man.
Well, it's presumably whoever plays Spider-Man, I guess. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And that is an actor, I think you'll find, who might be called Tobey Maguire.
Oh, well done. I didn't think you'd get that. Good going. So what is true? This is the last one. What is true about Tobey Maguire? A, his dad robbed a bank. He was caught but didn't do much time as he was unarmed and it was his first crime. Or B, his mum attempted to poison his dad.
Ooh, I don't know. I suppose both could feasibly happen to some degree, although poisoning someone is probably quite difficult. I don't know, it depends what you try and poison them with. As for robbing a bank, I don't know if you get let off just because it's your first time you've done it. Surely once is more than enough. That is one more occasion than I've tried to rob. Albeit nowadays, when you go into a bank and you're wearing those face masks, it does look a bit strange. But I would say that I think it might be that his mum tried to poison his dad.
And you would be wrong. No, Fisher, I think you did do quite well with that one. But yeah, it is true that his dad robbed a bank. It was during quite difficult times financially and everything, and which is not an excuse for robbing banks, but he did it, and I don't think he got too badly punished for it because it was his first crime and he was unarmed, and yeah. Anyway, so there you go. That was a little bit about family secrets of celebrities that you may not have heard about before, and hopefully in future I'll do one about embarrassing families as well, because there are other things I found to do with embarrassing families, and I might do something like that in future too. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that, Fisher.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much.
And now it's time for a word from our advertisers, and we do have to say something about it at this point, don't we, Fisher? That unfortunately, Daryl Does deliveries has now stopped doing deliveries. He got in touch with us. He paid for an advertisement last week, didn't he, Daryl? And basically stopped doing that service now. So if you listened to last week's podcast and you heard Daryl Does deliveries, he doesn't do deliveries anymore. But he has got in touch and he has got a new service that he's offering now. And it's Daryl Does DIY. So here you go.
Hello, I'm Daryl, and I've recently started a DIY business. I stopped working as a delivery driver following a large shipment of ladies' underwear gone missing. I've turned my hand to DIY, and my tools of the trade are the tools of the trade. I'm happy to do all areas of DIY you might need. Do you have a problem with your wood? If so, I'll either nail it or screw it with expert care. Have you got a wonky table? I'll prop it up with a book for you. You'll have to provide your own book though, because I don't have any. My work is plain and simple. In fact, I can only plane something if it's pretty simple. Do you need something drilling? Or have you got any holes that need filling? Let me get my sealant gun out and fill it with my decorator's caulk. Watch the pressures build up and the white sticky substance fill your holes. I've got good availability at the moment, although I was off last week with a sore arm. I had an accident and nearly sawed my arm off, but you name it and I can give it some hammer. And don't worry about me being a rogue trader. I'm an expert chiseler. In fact, I learned all my chiseling skills from my dad. He says I'm a chip off the block.
He's just trying his best, Daryl, isn't he, to be fair?
Everyone's got to work in this day and age, and give him a shout.
Yeah. Big shout out to Daryl.
He might be doing something different next week.
He might be, who knows? He's wasting a lot of money on these advertisements, so if he's not sticking with his original plans, is he? But yeah, as he explained, when a large shipment of ladies' underwear goes missing that's supposed to be in your care, there's going to be questions raised, isn't there?
Yeah, I suspect it's probably still in his care. That's probably the problem, Jimbo. There we go.
Yeah, just you know when builders and DIY people get the old builder's bum. Well, see what he's wearing when he comes round to do a job for you. Anyway, so let's move on then, and it's news time. So should we talk about what's been going on in the news? First of all, should we mention the old Priti Patel thing, seeing as that's kind of our title of our podcast today? And it's a little bit, again, it's just another example of our kind of government who, kind of can just, they seem to be able to let things go even after. What's the bother in having an inquiry into all this if they're just going to ignore it and she's going to be able to keep a job? Because she's basically been found to have broken the ministerial code. But then Boris Johnson said, "Oh, I don't think she has," even though they paid to have somebody do an inquiry into it.
Well, someone has lost their job as a result of this. Unfortunately, it was the person who did the investigation in the first place, which no doubt everyone will have their opinions on that. But it was alleged that Priti Patel had bullied members of staff at the Home Office, and I think there have been allegations in previous departments that she'd worked in. Obviously, she spent a bit of time out of the government after she broke the ministerial code and was found to have lied about it. But then she came back into government and got promoted up to Home Secretary. So it was alleged that she was bullied. And it was interesting that the actual inquiry wasn't allowed to speak to the main person who put the allegation out there in the first place. I think it was someone called Philip, who resigned as private secretary. And it was alleged that he also received an out-of-court settlement from the. So thank you very much as a taxpayer for spending some of my hard-earned money on paying off this person who Priti Patel had allegedly bullied. Well, I would say allegedly. That was pretty much what the report said. Other than that, Boris Johnson decided to ignore it and put out a message out there saying, "Let's all form a square and rally around Pritster." Chris Grayling, unfortunately, didn't know what a square was and just formed a different shape around her instead. But, can't have everything, can we? So I think it's just all in general. And this all on Friday, which was the final day of anti-bullying week. So thank you very much.
So, to end anti-bullying week, Boris Johnson basically says, after an inquiry into bullying, that he doesn't think she's actually done anything wrong technically because he said she hasn't broke the code or whatever. But I think really the secret behind it there is that Boris Johnson found out about this, that she'd broke this code and that it looks like she had been bullying, and she did the speech and accepted. I think Boris Johnson went to see her about maybe asking her to step down or saying, "Look, we can't keep you in your position." And Priti Patel apparently said back to Boris, "Look, you sack me, I'm going to steal your dinner money." So there we go. So are we moving on to the next thing then? Which I've got written down here that Apple have had $5 million worth of goods stolen from a lorry.
Yeah, that's true. A couple of weeks ago, there was a lorry. I think it was found on a slip road just off the M1. I think it'd been taken for ransom. A security driver who was also with the lorry had also been taken. And the police eventually found the lorry, and it had about £5 million worth of goods that Apple were transporting stolen. I've got a list of the goods actually. Just got them here. It's 2 iPhone chargers, 1 iPad case, and sorry, that's it.
That's the sum total of £5 million, is it?
I think so. Yeah, that seems to be the way. But presumably allowed. Maybe
iPhones and iPads. Do you think they found it because do you think they found it because somebody had left Find My iPhone turned on?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, good thinking. They can locate the whole lot of them.
Exactly.
So I think we've got a candidate for joke we did next week, by the way.
Oh, go on. Joke we should have done last week.
Priti Patel's. From this week's show.
Oh, right, okay.
What you mentioned about Priti Patel trying to steal Boris Johnson's dinner money. He could say, "No, it's all right. I get free school dinners because we're now giving them out to everyone and all that sort of stuff." So,
yeah.
Never mind.
Priti Patel said to Boris, "Look, if you sack me, I'm going to lock you in that fridge." And Boris said, "Oh no, I'm already in here. It's fine." Anyway, should we talk about some good news?
We've got a COVID vaccine, haven't we?
Got a couple, apparently.
COVID vaccine, yeah. I think by the sound, there's a couple out there. One of them developed by Pfizer. I think another one developed by someone in America. It's been suggested that they both success rates of about 90-95%, which obviously is really good. The one from Pfizer, which was announced first, it's only effective at temperature if stored at temperatures of about minus 80 degrees. So at the moment, we're not quite sure where we're going to store this, but we're thinking just next to Priti Patel's heart might be okay. But there we go.
Well,
obviously they could put a fridge, but obviously Boris Johnson's in there.
It's funny, isn't it? It's funny, isn't it, how one vaccine's come out saying, oh, we've got this, I think it's 90% or whatever it was effective, and then the next vaccine, oh, we've got one as well, we think it's 95. They're all suddenly starting to come out of the woodwork now, and then somebody has just gone, did you also know that mouthwash can help prevent against COVID-19 as well? So did you hear that? Someone come out saying... So Donald Trump's early suggestion... Hold on a minute. What did I say? I said Donald Trump. Early suggestion of bleach or whatever he came out with weren't too far off. But yeah, apparently someone said that it turns out mouthwash can be a good prevention of COVID-19. And, so somebody, I think they were on sort of one of those kind of breakfast programs, and the hosts were like, you didn't what? Sorry, I tried to kind of blank myself out. So this is, and the person said, wash your mouth out. But anyway, that was terrible. But anyway, yeah.
Wouldn't you have thought that the vaccine would spread better if we didn't use mouthwash? So if people, and didn't brush their teeth, and if people's breath really stank, then we'd have to stay 2 meters apart, which would really be an efficient way of dealing with the crisis.
Exactly, yeah. Good point.
But obviously, we did mention Boris Johnson there, and he's self-isolating at the moment, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
So I think we did actually make the joke on our Twitter feed that he's back in the fridge.
We did, yeah.
He's self-isolating because Boris Johnson, that person who told us all to work from home where we can.
Yeah.
Do you know what he did? He was working in his office, wasn't he? When he had a face-to-face meeting with someone where they didn't keep 2 meters apart, and afterwards they posed for photographs, and then the photographs you could tell that they weren't 2 meters apart. And do you know what happened, Jimbo?
Yeah.
He's had to self-isolate. We've had to have our Prime Minister restrict them, which we know full well he is against freedom of, and this is what's happened as a result. I mean, what a complete and utter imbecile, honestly. you couldn't make it up. But there we go. I mean, the slightly amusing bit is that, as I say, he's actually published photos with, I think, 3 Tory MPs that he had this various meeting with, one of whom tested positive for COVID. And on the photos published, you can tell they're not 2 meters apart because they are pretty much the same as a shoulder's width apart. So unless he's 2 meters wide, then there is no way. I mean, it really just so laughable. It's untrue. But there we go. What else has been going on, Jimbo? Oh well, let's stop talking about stupid blonde-haired leaders. Should we talk about Donald Trump?
Go for it, yeah.
Donald Trump, he's still going. He's still claiming that he's won the election. To the extent even tweeted, "I won the election."
Our response was pretty good, though, wasn't it?
Response was that we are the best listened to podcast on Apple Podcasts.
Of course we are.
Thank you very much. Facts confirmed. What amused me slightly was the fact that he tweeted last week or a few weeks ago, I have had more votes to be president than any other sitting US president in history, which is perfect, and there is no denying that. If it is fact checked, what he's failed to mention is he's also had more votes to unelect him than any other sitting president in US history. Who just seems to have forgotten that.
Yeah.
What?
That's what he does. He likes to use. He's good at using any facts that he has got to his advantage, but then omitting anything else to make sure that only the good stuff's getting through. Basically, doesn't he?
Yeah, which is quite misleading, really. His son's caught COVID as well, hasn't he? And he's self-isolating. Donald Trump Jr.
Right. Okay.
And if you've seen Donald Trump Jr. on he does a fantastic impression of Donald Trump. I mean, it really is quite impressive. It is so uncanny to come through. And whether or not he's going to line up as a future president, who knows?
I mean, so Donald Trump is, we all know that he's absolutely dangerous, and when it comes to social media, and dangerous, entertaining, but also not ideal when it comes to using social media. Somebody else who's not doing so well with social media at the minute, the Pope.
Of course, yes, the Pope. Do you want to say what he did?
Yeah, so they're investigating because the Pope's Instagram channel has apparently liked a raunchy photograph of a model in a tiny schoolgirl outfit.
Which is quite right. They're investigating it a little bit. Although, to be fair, I think the Catholic Church probably have had slightly bigger sex scandals in recent years that haven't been investigated in the same depth that this one's going to be investigated in. But there we go.
Well, to be fair to the Pope, though, it's not himself who looks after his own Twitter, his own Instagram channel, unlike where Donald Trump looks after his Twitter feed and he has it on his phone, and we all know that's very dangerous. But apparently the Pope doesn't do that. It doesn't really go on Instagram. It's just a sort of official channel that's managed by a team of bishops below him. So no doubt after this they'll be bashing the bishops.
Well done, Jimbo. Well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was I going to say now about... did you see... Getting back to Trump and social media, did you see his praise for his sister on social media?
So praise...
There was a news article. Yeah, he praised his sister had joined Twitter recently to tweet her support for Donald Trump. And yeah, it was kind of just the usual. Well, it was very much like Trump's Twitter feed, basically. And it contained under a name, I'm the sister of Donald Trump, President of America. Very much all these Make America. And she tweeted a few things, and there was a journalist who kind of wrote about how the manner in which she was supporting her brother, and said the US election was completely rigged, and Donald Trump has won the election. And the journalist wrote the news article, and sort of the headline on the article was Donald Trump's sister Elizabeth. Her name's Elizabeth, I think she sometimes calls herself Betty, has thrown her weight behind the allegations made by...
Oh, you've gone, Fisher.
Election, all this stuff.
Hold on, okay, sorry.
It.
You went for a second, then you're back, though. You're back.
Okay, I'm back. To be fair, I'm only just talking a load of rubbish anyway, but the journalist tweeted the news article, and Donald Trump saw this and retweeted it with the words, "Thank you very much to my wonderful sister." Do you know what the slight problem was?
Go on.
His sister hadn't joined Twitter at all. It was a parody account that hadn't been correctly labelled. Someone saw this, thought it was a genuine account, wrote the article about it, and Trump tweeted it about his sister, even though it wasn't his sister. So, probably tells you about as much as you need to know about the man. I think we've got a couple of final news stories.
Yeah.
As I say, let's stop talking about incompetent leaders who say the wrong thing and embarrass themselves. Chairman of the FA has resigned, if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Greg Clark, I think his name is.
Yeah.
He went to talk about. I think he was talking about this potential thing with the Premier League forming a potential breakaway and all this sort of stuff, and restructuring the finances of professional football. And he ended up talking about black footballers and sort of effectively talking about racial divisions within the game and discrimination within the Football Association and all that. He referred to people from of black or minority ethnic people as being coloured, which is quite an offensive thing to do nowadays. And he also talked about there being a large amount of Southeast Asian people who worked in the FA's IT department due to them having different career interests and not wanting, by the sounds of it, not wanted to. Although they did quite a bad job, because unfortunately they failed to cut his microphone on Zoom and cut him off from speaker at this point, and he carried on saying various things and ultimately was forced to resign afterwards. Having already made various gaffes on similar subjects.
So it was kind of about time. It was kind of coming in about time that this was the case for him.
That's sort of to be the way. Yeah, I think he also made comments about female goalkeepers not being very good because they don't like the ball coming at them very quickly. Although it was very quick to caveat saying that actually it's all right because most of the female football players can't kick the ball that hard anyway. He didn't say that. I'm joking. That's a joke of a thing that he might say, obviously. So, yeah, so he has left, and hopefully we will not get someone quite as incompetent to come and replace him.
Well, yeah, there we
go.
Hopefully. And I think the final story we're going to finish off with, before we move on then, Fisher, an attempt to do your quiz, although I'm not sure how well it'll go, given we've got some of the audio problems we've got at the minute. Phallic mushroom carvings have been removed in Swansea after complaints that they looked like, well, they are mushroom carvings, but they looked phallic. They looked like giant penises, basically. The councils apparently had to remove them. People have been a bit upset about it, and have rightly said that the council in Swansea should have stiffened up about this, issued a hardened response, and left the creative carvings in place. But they didn't. Anything to add on that, Fisher, or should we move on?
No, I think you've covered everything there, really.
Radio Space Podcast. Thank you.
So, on to Fisher's feature. What we got, Fisher?
Thank you very much, Jimbo. Fingers crossed this goes okay, and you can hear me all right.
If it gets unmanageable, I shall call it, and we can maybe roll over the quiz to next week or something. If it gets unmanageable, but we'll attempt and see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes. I've mentioned a couple of times the Ig Nobel Awards, covered the 2020, 2019 and 2018 one. And have a guess which year I've got this time, Jimbo?
Got to be 2017 then, has it?
It's 2017,
yeah.
So I could have been a maverick and gone for a different year, but I'm kind of working back in date order. So I'll run through the 10 awards that we're given out, and so it's just a simple question of what did they do to win those awards, and what were the options. What did Mark Anton Fardin do to win the award for physics? And again, all of the awards have been won by teams of people, but I've only named one of them just to make it a little bit easier and more simplistic, and save me reading off a load of names I can barely pronounce. So what did Mark Anton Fardin do to win the award for physics? Is it using fluid dynamics to probe the question, can a cat be both solid and liquid? Or was it for doing a study to work out which type of nut is the most aerodynamic? It was a walnut, whose dimples provided an edge over other nuts.
So, by aerodynamic, which ones fly through the air most successfully? Possibly with speed or grace. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, well, I suppose which one is less resistant to air. So if you've ever seen sort of some footage of, for example, professional cycling, aerodynamics is quite an important subject. So you often see people in wind tunnels, and that's why professional cyclists sometimes got helmets that point in a certain way and all that sort of stuff. He may or may not have done this with various nuts.
So, I mean, he sounds like a bit of a nutty professor.
Hey.
So he might have been doing that to go with that. Well, can you just remember what the first one was again?
Using fluid dynamics to probe the question, can a cat be both a solid and a liquid?
Can a cat be both a solid and a liquid?
A cat, yes, as in things that go meow.
Are we talking about after the cat's been killed or has died and then can be melted down or something?
Yeah. Well, I say it doesn't sound like a very nice image, does it, having a liquid cat?
No. And cats are scared of water, as it is apparently, so they don't tend to like it, do they?
No, not really.
No. I mean, Cardi B, I don't know if you've heard, Cardi B sings a lot about wet cats. I don't know if you're aware of that song in particular, but she does.
No.
No, she often...
so that might...
Not gone over your head, that one, has it?
About to tell a joke.
No, I was just saying that Cardi B's also...
Asking me about Cardi B.
Yeah. So Cardi B, she's a rapper. That's pretty much all I know. But she sings about wet cats. So she's singing about these liquid type cats because she sings about a wet ass pussy. Is her song, which is funny because I saw something on the internet the other day, because obviously it's been announced, hasn't it, that various radio stations. And no, I didn't. You're wondering what I've seen on the internet, aren't you?
I am. Well, enough.
I don't know if you've seen about Fairy Tale of New York, but various radio stations have decided not to play you get this every year, really, but they decide not to play the full version because of some of the lyrics in Fairy Tale New York can be deemed offensive and so on. But I saw a sort of Facebook post saying, sorry everyone, we're not going to play Fairy Tale of New York this year because it's too offensive. But here's a song by Cardi B rapping about a vagina, which I found very funny. So let's go then with, I think it's going to be I think for you to have made the first one up is just crazy. So I'm going to go with the first one. I think it's this seeing if a cat can be a liquid as well as a solid.
Okay. You'll be correct. Well done.
There we go. After my successful 7 in a row start next week, I'm hoping to go better than that, maybe get full marks, but if I can get 8 in a row right, that'd be good.
Yeah. Let's see how you do. So what did Milo Puhan do to win the award for peace? Was it for demonstrating that the regular playing of a didgeridoo is an effective treatment for snoring? Or is it for studying the likelihood of a couple having a disagreement based on whether neither of them were drinking, one of them was drinking, or whether they were both drinking?
Now, because of this audio issues that we've got, Fisher, the question that I heard was, what did somebody Puhan do to win the award for pee?
Yeah, all right.
That's the question that I got. So I'm guessing it was he won the award for peace, is what you're saying. And can you just give me the answers again? Sorry, because it did break up a little bit.
Okay, so Milo Puhan Award for Peace, was it for demonstrating that the regular playing of a didgeridoo is an effective treatment for snoring, or for studying that the likelihood of a couple having a disagreement based neither of them drinking, one of them drinking, or them both drinking?
Ah, okay. So talking about the effects of alcohol on a couple who are having disagreements, and with one of them drinking, the other drinking, one of them not drinking, two of them not, and all that kind of combination. Or the first one, a didgeridoo and the effects on your mood and so on, and the snoring and so on. Oh, interesting. Okay. Now I kind of made up a didgeridoo, or not didgeridoo, but I kind of made up an answer the other week involving another Rolf Harris instrument, didn't I? I don't want to talk about Rolf Harris too much, but that is another notable instrument. So I don't know whether you've done the same as me and tried to pick out something similar and go with something like that to throw me off. But I'm not sure. I would say it was... I don't want to get this wrong because I really want to go and get everything right. Yeah, I want to... Right. I mean, obviously I don't want to get them wrong, but... Right, let's go with the first one, the didgeridoo one. I'm going to go against my instincts here.
Didgeridoo. Correct. Well done.
Yes.
Well done, Jimbo. Good. Next up. What did Matthew Rockcliffe do to win the award for economics? Was it for writing a paper in which he assessed the impact on football players' performance if a spectator threw coins at them? Was it for experiments how contact with a live crocodile affects a person's willingness to gamble?
All right, okay. So either if a football player performs, how they perform when they're having coins thrown at them, if they perform better or whatever, or if having contact with a crocodile makes you more likely to gamble. Yeah. So it's suggesting that if you take the risk of being near a crocodile, you're also likely to potentially take more risks when it comes to gambling money and so on. Yeah. I presume on the first one, it's if are you motivated by a clear demonstration of the fact that your supporters aren't particularly liking what you're doing. Well, they do say that, you know, when you get angry and stuff, you can do things better, don't they? Sometimes when you like, you know, if you ever see a football player lose a ball in a match and then suddenly they you know, sometimes they can see red a little bit and either get themselves sent off or they can go and win the ball back straight away, can't they? And they kind of get a little burst of energy sometimes, and you know, so I can see sense in both of them in a weird way. But let's say, although the purpose, you know, why we need to know that, I'm not so sure. But anyway, let's go with the crocodile one.
Crocodile and gambling. You'd be correct. Well done. So next up, 3 out of 3, Jimbo.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, what did James Heathcote do to win the award for anatomy? Was it for his medical research study? Why do old men have big ears? or was it for his seminal bit of research? Can you smell if you have a smelly nose?
Can you smell if you've got a smelly nose? Or why do old men have big ears? And I mean, you know, this is why I've got my headphones on to hide my massive ears, and I've got my grumpy old man T-shirt on. So, there's not really much in. We know that his ears are apparently one of the only parts of his body that doesn't stop growing. Is it? Or is it they're always the same? They're not always the same size because babies have really small ears. So.
Oh, just the same size, though. Yeah.
But apparently your nose doesn't, does it? Apparently your nose keeps growing. Is that right?
Depends how many lies you tell, I suppose. Really,
of course,
yeah. If it's a common known fact that your ears keep growing, then it's probably reason why do old men have big ears. Isn't that not much of a drastic paper, really, is it?
No. And what was the second one again? Was about.
And can you smell if you've got a smelly nose?
Good point. Very good point, though. I'm going to say the second one then.
Can you smell if you've got a smelly nose? You'd be wrong.
Oh. Yeah, to be fair, I smelt something dodgy with that one.
Next up. It's a character in Noddy called
Big Ears,
well,
yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure it's got nothing to do with him. Next up, what did Rodrigo Ferreira do to win the award for biology? It's not that, by the way.
Sorry, you might have to repeat what you've just said because I completely missed it.
Okay. What did Rodrigo Ferreira do to win the award for biology? Is it for discovery of a female penis and a male vagina on a cave insect, or for studying whether people born with more than 5 toes on their foot have better balance?
Okay, so again, I heard that very sort of distortedly. So he discovered a male vagina and a female penis. What I got there was on the wall of a cave for some reason.
On a cave insect.
On a cave
insect.
insect.
Lives in a cave.
Oh right, okay. I thought somebody had been drawing rude pictures.
No.
Let's go.
The Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Yeah. All right, let's go with. Let's go with. That would be quite good research, wouldn't it? What? That's not.
I don't know. Or the other option is, do you balance better if you've got more than 5 toes on one of your feet?
I'm gonna go with that one because I think the first one is quite a good discovery. Really, it's not. I wouldn't think it would be any, because normally it's about these sort of things being ridiculous, but that's quite a good discovery in a sense. If you found an insect that's got, I don't know, you know what I mean? There's probably something ridiculous in it, but I can't see that as clearly as the other one. So let's go with the balancing one if you've got more than 5 toes.
Okay. You're being correct.
Very strange.
There we go. So I think you got your first 3 right and the next 2 wrong, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But let's see how you do in the end. What did Juan Han do to win the award for fluid dynamics? Was it for studying the dynamics of liquid sloshing to learn what happens when a person walks backwards while carrying a cup of coffee? Or was it for studying if there is an optimal height to bomb into a swimming pool to make the loudest possible noise?
Well, we mentioned the water bombing championships last week, didn't we, in Sheffield? And
we did, yes.
So, just for those that didn't catch that, I think I've worked out that the question is about Juan Han. It was researching into liquid dynamics. So that's how liquid moves and behaves and so on like that. And he's looking at whether the effects on someone holding coffee walking backwards or somebody waterbombing into a pool. Now, I think because of the waterbombing mentioned last week, I think you've kind of made that answer up. And I'm going to go with somebody holding coffee walking backwards.
Okay, and well done, you'll be correct. Next up, what did Fernandez do to win the award for nutrition? Was it for the first specific report on human blood in the diet of a vampire, or for studying whether the shape of pasta has an impact on its nutritional value?
So, the shape of pasta, whether it's better nutritionally, depending on its shape. The first one, I didn't really get this. I heard something about, did you say something to do with a vampire or something? Vampire bat or something?
Yeah, sorry. A scientific report on human blood in the diet of a vampire bat.
Okay.
So, what happens if a vampire bat drinks human blood?
Right, okay. Vampire bats are real then, aren't they? Yeah.
I believe so. There's fruit bats and vampire bats. Obviously, fruit bats presumably eat fruit, and vampire bats presumably eat vampires.
All right. So... I always thought they were a myth.
No.
I wouldn't
Apparently not, but
how
can you have a bat named after him if they're a myth?
Well, because I thought it was part of the like Dracula type thing, so... I'll not think that in future. I'll be very careful. I won't count on it that vampire bats aren't real. Let's go then with the bat one.
Okay. Well done. You'd be correct. Next up, why did Jean-Pierre Rayet win the award? Is it for using brain scanning technology to measure the extent to which some people are disgusted by cheese, or is it for research to whether drinking champagne at varying speeds can cure you of hiccups?
So drinking champagne at various speeds can cure you of hiccups, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Or whether
looking at people's brains can tell you whether or not they like cheese.
Okay. I think that it's the cheese one. I'm going to go with the cheese one.
Cheese. Correct. Well done.
Okay.
Doing well there, Jimbo. Yeah. So is that 6 out of 8 so far?
Yep.
I think we should try and keep the score more regularly on this, by the way. What did Matteo Martini do to win the award Cognition? Is it for demonstrating that many identical twins can't tell themselves apart, or for assessing how easy it is to recognise who've had their facial hair shaved off?
Again, it's very broken up, but the first one was whether identical twins can look at photographs and pick out themselves how able they are to do that, or the second one was about something to do with recognising people when they've shaved their moustaches and stuff off.
Facial hair in general, but yeah, once they've shaved.
Yeah, okay. See, I know what they mean, because I didn't, when it comes to my own parents, I didn't recognise, when my mum shaved her moustache off, I didn't recognise her at all. So yeah.
Do you not recognise her in the papers now?
Let's go with I think it's the identical twins one.
Identical twins not being able to recognise each other. Correct. Well done. And finally, last question. What did Mauricio Lopez Chijon do to win the award for Is it for showing that developing human fetuses respond more strongly to music that is played electromagnetically inside the mother's vagina to music that is played electromagnetically on the outside of a mother's belly? Or for finding out whether women give birth more quickly depending on what music is playing in the background? it transpired that relaxing music gave a faster birth compared to fast-paced rock music.
Okay, so something to do... I mean, again, it was very, very broken up there. So the first one was something to do with how a baby responds to different styles of music, I think.
Yeah.
And then the second one was about how quickly a mother can give birth depending on the type and the speed of music, whether it's rock music or slow music and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the second one then.
That he did his research on how quickly a mother can give birth depending on music playing.
Yeah.
You're incorrect, unfortunately.
Well, there we go.
So, nonetheless, well done. I think you got 7 out of 10.
Not too bad.
So
Happy with that, considering.
Yeah. Interestingly, well, maybe not that interesting, but I've got a new method for whether to choose. Yeah, you've got 2 scenarios: which one you put first and which one you put second. Because I was listening to this podcast with someone a few weeks ago, and they said that they were trying to work it out and said, actually, the last couple of answers were the first one. So it's going to be the second one because you can't keep on the same sequence. I don't know if you have the same problem when it comes to. So I decided what I would start doing is I'd start tossing a coin. If it ended up as heads, I'd put the genuine answer first, and if it was tails, I'd put the genuine answer second. Completely and utterly random. And it turned out I had 9 heads and 1 tail in that. So 9 of the answers there. The first ones were true.
I do know what you mean.
On a random basis.
Yeah, I do know what you mean though. Trying to decide which answers are going to be in which answers are going to be the A's and the B's and stuff. Quite challenging, isn't it, when we're putting together these quizzes? I always find that difficult as well because I don't want to keep repeating what I do each week and it become too predictable for you. So yeah, it can be. That's a good idea. I might follow that advice in future. But yeah, I mean, what's the odds of you having 9 of the same ones? That's a bit unusual, isn't it? But anyway.
Well, I can find that out for you in a moment. But yeah. That might be my homework for this week. I'm sure. Well done anyway, Jim.
So we've struggled through this podcast. I'm not sure, kind of what the audio quality is going to be like when we listen back. But sorry if we have had issues with audio today. Not 100% sure why. These things only ever start when we actually go live, not when we're beforehand. But that's what's happened. Hopefully, the audio version might be better or might not. Who knows? I wouldn't be sure yet. But anyway, thank you for listening to us today. And for the previous reviews that we mentioned earlier on as well. Happy to take more reviews, although don't review us based on our audio quality because we are working in that word that everybody keeps saying that I'm sick of hearing. How many times? It's unprecedented times. I've wanted to say this in quite a few podcasts. If there's one word that's the most used word throughout this pandemic, it's that one, isn't it? I wish they'd invent a new word because I hate that word. Grumpy old man glove.
Yeah. What's wrong with just unusual?
Yeah.
Different, Maybe that's what we need to do for all these politicians, buy them a thesaurus at Christmas.
Well, it's the politicians' fault because, like, you see, when they do, like, they do vox pops, which is where they go on the streets and they speak to people and ask for the public opinion and then they play it in the news pieces and stuff. Whenever you watch these now, you've got students or, like, grannies saying, "Oh, it's unprecedented times." Like, they probably never heard that word used as much before now. I can't. It just really goes through me now when I start hearing people say that. So, don't you be squeezing it into future episodes, Fisher?
Well, I think I've got another challenge for next week. I think, just getting back to the point about how likely it is to get or 9 of the same coin toss. I think that if you do 2 to the 10 should give you 2 to the power 10 should give you how many possibilities there are on that front. So if you do 2 to the power 10, there's 1,024 possible outcomes that you could do from flipping how many different results you could. So what was the question then? How likely is it to get 9 out of 10? 9 out of 10 heads, or exactly 9, or at least 9.
Yeah.
If it was to get exactly 10, then you'd be talking 1 in 1,024. Although if you include getting all tails, then it'd be 2 in 1,024. But 10 more opportunities. So I think it basically becomes about a 1% chance of getting by the looks of it. I can show you my full working.
It's okay, Carol. We'll leave it there, thank you.
Yeah.
And you know when I said that your audio is really bad? It's really bad, so just shut up.
Okay.
I would have finished though, just talking about Vox Pops. Did you see one of the best Vox Pops ever the other day? If you remember, if you watch I'm a Celebrity, Jordan North, who looks like he's kind of out in the lead at the minute in terms of a favourite for winning I'm a Celebrity and being crowned King of the Jungle. First time I've ever watched it, by the way, this year, because I've never usually bothered with it, but I've give it a go this year. When he's been doing his Bush Tucker trials, whatever they call them, probably not Bush Tucker trials anymore, like Welsh World Trials, whatever they are now. They've been like, he's been like sort of saying happy place and Turf Moor, which he describes unusually as his happy place, which isn't really a happy place at the minute, is it? Seen as a sort of sat towards the bottom of the Premier League, or maybe actually smack bottom, I'm not 100% sure, although we all know Sheffield United is sitting comfortably there as well. But they went, for some reason they were at Turf Moor, and I don't know if it was anything to do with I'm a Celebrity, but somebody was there, and they stopped, and somebody was going past on a mobility scooter, and the news reporter said, how are you feeling today? He goes, how do you think I'm feeling? The pubs are shut. And then he just drove on. Which I thought were quite funny. If anyone's not seen that, it's worth watching. But yeah, thank you for any reviews that we've had. Sorry about the audio quality today. Don't mark us down because of our audio quality, but we do happily take your reviews, good or bad. We'll always read them out. Even if they're really bad, we'll read them out, won't we, Fisher?
Well, I suppose it depends quite how bad it is, but yeah, as long as you give us 5 stars or more, we'll read them out.
Yeah.
There we go.
Anyway, thank you for listening.
Apologies for my audio quality. What's my video been like, Jimbo?
I think it's been as jumpy, but it doesn't matter as much with the video, but yeah. So anyway, thank you for listening. At Waste of Web Space is our Twitter account, same as Facebook, wasteofwebspace.co.uk as well. Plenty of ways to get in touch. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week, hopefully in more high definition when it comes to sound and video. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.